Who belongs? The fate of humanity depends on how we answer that question, and brain science can help show us the way. I want to tell you a story. Actually, I want us to tell the story together. It's a story about how, when things are changing rapidly, we can respond in one of two ways. One way is to close ranks with those we consider to be us and try to exclude everyone else. That's othering. Othering comes in many forms, but one of the most virulent is racism. The other way is to expand our conception of us to include as many people as we can. That's belonging. Which way will we choose? Well, that depends on the story we tell ourselves.
So I think the two dominant stories. One is the fear. That those people out there, they're out to get you. They're not like you. You need to be afraid of them, build a wall or kill them. And the other one is one of hope and love. It's like, we share something. We can create something. We share the earth. We share each other. And we can learn from each other. So those are two dominant stories. So one is one of fear. One is of hope.
Fear or hope? These two stories have been around as long as there have been people. They coexist because the impulse towards both was literally wired into us. It was a matter of survival. If I'm an early human and you suddenly show up in my cave, I have to decide, right away, are you one of us? In which case, a nice hug might be in order. Or are you one of them? In which case, we might have to throw hands. And in order to make this split-second decision, my brain does one of its favorite things. It categorizes.
We have a brain that's very good at classifying. We're very good at thinking about who our own group is and who may be threatening to our own group. And I think there are two systems in our brain that sometimes work against each other. So one is the system of fight and flight, and this is a system in the brain that is very prominent in lower species like amphibians and reptiles, and it essentially is involved with protecting oneself from other animals and attacking other animals for food. And then we have this other grander side in our brain, and this is the part of the brain that is involved with nurturance, empathy, self-awareness, being able to think more broadly about the survival of the planet, being able to think outside ourselves and thinking about the importance of others.
Deep down, we all want to belong, to connect, to build things together, to solve problems together. In our heart of hearts, we know that that's what brings out the best in us. But if we live in fear, it becomes more likely that our reptilian side will take over instead. And I don't know about you, but I'm living in a lot of fear these days. So in these terrifying times, how do we keep ourselves moving towards togetherness? How do we keep fear from tearing us apart? How do we call on our better angels? By figuring out how to belong without always making someone other, which can start with making ourselves aware of when our brains are doing the categorizing, shortcutty thing of assuming that if you seem different from me in some way, that must mean that you're out to get me.
I think what's happening is you see someone or a group of people that have a shared characteristic. It could be something external or something in their behavior or something in their way of living. And you generalize, you mark those people, and you start to build all kinds of theories around those people, and you confuse those theories and beliefs as reality. And in that process, you lose sight of the shared identity of people, the shared substance of people.
When we lose sight of our interconnectedness, our interdependence, well, then our humanity drains away. And we stop inventing all the incredible things like schools, libraries, civilizations that come from our species' genius for working together, for helping one another. How can we prevent this from happening? Well, to begin with, we can start to understand that each one of us isn't exactly just one of us. We all have multiple identities, which is to say, we don't belong to just one group. Take me, for example. You may know me only as the impossibly handsome host of this video. But I'm so much more than that. I'm an American. I'm a father, a husband, a brother, a son. I'm obsessed with cute cat videos. I'm one of those people who's always dreamed of becoming a professional basketball player, even though my vertical leap is pretty close to zero. So when I'm thinking about how I can live and work peacefully with you, I'm trying to get all of my identities to get along with all of your identities. But wait, that just seems to make the problem worse. Now all of my us's have to play nice with all of your us's. That's a lot of usifying. Here's the thing, though. It's being aware of our multiple identities, our many ways of belonging, that can actually help solve the problem. Because now, when I meet a stranger who seems different from me in a scary way, chances are that in some other way, we're both in the same group.
Your group could be people who have a kind heart, people who care about each other. You could define your group in many different ways. So I think we have to actually help people imagine the future so people quit turning to the past. But we haven't really exercised that.
Wow. It would be so great if we could come up with something that could allow us to benefit from all the things we share without destroying each other over our differences. Well, fortunately, we have. And with all due respect to the wheel and the spork, it's probably the greatest invention that our brains have ever come up with: democracy. A political system that allows not only all of us to participate, but most of our multiple us's as well. As long as we start by agreeing on one thing: everyone belongs. So that when something like the coronavirus crisis comes along, we don't follow the orders of our inner reptile and resort to othering.
The way we work together needs to deliver security for all of us. That should be the precondition. In the context of thinking about the pandemic, the way I put it is, the starting point for a governance conversation is we're not going to abandon anybody. We're not abandoning the elderly. We're not abandoning the young. We're not abandoning people of color. We're not abandoning people who are in prisons. Because otherwise, you don't have a social contract. You might as well just give up and go home because you just ruined the whole thing.
In other words, everyone has to belong. And to get there, we need to practice favoring our kind side over our scared side.
The best humans, the ones that we might admire the most, are those who can keep these two systems working together in a very positive way, that don't allow the fear and the fright and the anger to overwhelm us when we are in moments of stress. It's the part of the brain that can see with a longer view about the importance of empathy, of caring for others, this higher order system that allows us to believe in others and protect them.
It all comes back to the story we tell ourselves.
The way we think about these things, the culture and the leadership matters a lot so that we can sort of activate certain parts of the imagination.
And John, right now we seem to have a lot of leaders internationally that appeal to this more primitive side of our brain, the side of the brain that allows us to feel comfortable in a small group.
I think that's right.
And it's going to take all of us. Democracy is the story that we have to keep telling together. And this beautiful, necessary collaboration won't happen unless we decide to start building bridges instead of walls. Is it too late for us to make this change? No. I mean, look, lots of our young people are already there, out in the streets organizing, voting, peacefully demanding justice. Now us old folks need to catch up.
I have a saying, since I'm one of those older people now. I said, that statement that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, it's not right. It's not true. You can teach an old dog new tricks. It just takes a long time.
So we'd better get cracking. To retain our humanity, to save our planet, We need to get in the habit of belonging rather than othering, of focusing on our commonalities over our differences. And I'm not going to lie to you. This will take lots of hard work, and it will require all of us to accept the fact that we won't always get our way.
Democracy is exhausting, and in this weird mix of simultaneously immensely rewarding and like totally dissatisfying, because it means like no single person ever gets to fully, see their will realized in the world, and that's what we've really lost sight of understanding. Is that actually democracy is about stopping short. It's about accepting that we're building this collective messy thing, which will always be perceived as imperfect. But nonetheless, we got to build it. It wasn't imposed on us.
You don't need me to tell you that these are incredibly perilous times for our democracy and for our planet. Things are changing all around us at a dizzying rate. But if we follow the brain science and favor belonging over othering, well, I like our chances.